Hello, this is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. I am the host of the Spiritually Motivated and Inspirational Podcast, and today's layer of the month, humility. Humility is defined as a modest or low view of one's own importance, humbleness. If we look at the King James Version or definition, it is the practice of meekness, obedience to God, respect of self and others, submissiveness, and modesty. Now, if we look up the word practice, we already know the customary, habitual, or expected procedure or way of doing something. It's a consistency. You make it a habit. You practice to be you humble. If we look at Colossians 3 and 12, put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long suffering. And if we continue on in verse 13, it also says, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. So you have to have that forgiveness in your heart as well. That's a part of that humility, to being able to say, I made a mistake. If we look up the word meek, meek is quiet, gentle, and easily imposed on, submissive. If we take a look at Matthew 11 and 29, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. And if we define lowly, lowly is defined low in status or importance, humble. Humility is one of the hardest things that so many people have oppositions with, because they don't like to admit when they're wrong. They do not like to accept responsibility for anything that they did wrong. They do not like to apologize because they feel that they were in their right to do or to say whatever it is that they have done. God is trying to make us realize that we are not so great. We're not so great. We are just a figment of our own imaginations. We think that we are high-minded, we are prestigious, we are important. And many will look at a person's disability. They will look at the color of their skin. They will look at their different habits. Their maybe they're not as tall. Maybe they're too short. Maybe they're too fat. Maybe they're too skinny. Their eyes are the wrong color. The attitude is. Everyone will find something wrong with someone else. God looks at all of us the same. Do we know that the spirit just have a body? It's not that the body just have a spirit, but the spirit has a body. Whatever spirit we have will project through the body that physical beings can see. We do not realize that the outward appearance that people see, is hiding or encasing a spirit. That once that spirit leaves our body, that body becomes null and void. It doesn't move anymore. It doesn't breathe anymore. It doesn't have life anymore. That when we look at someone, we're actually just looking at a covering for the spirit. Whether it's an evil spirit, whether it's a godly spirit. We're looking at a covering. If we think about our clothing is a covering for our bodies. Our flesh is a covering for our spirits. When our spirits, or when God calls his spirit back home to him, that body no longer have a life. Many will question or forfeit that, or say that that doesn't have anything to do with me. You know, I am who I am. But it has everything to do with us as individuals. If we do not believe that spirits can possess anything, then why is Chucky alive? Why are they continually making Chucky? If we don't believe that spirits bring things alive, why is there Annabelle? We can't say that it's not true or it's not realistic if they make movies about it and people are watching it. There is truth to that. But admitting that God is God and Jesus is Lord of Lords, that will bring us down to humility. That will bring us down to our knees, that we have to be serving sovereignty to someone that is holier and greater than we are. We don't want to bow down. We don't want to have that mentality that someone is greater than we are. Even Satan is great and greater. We give him the power, but he's powerful. There are those that are willing to sell their soul to the devil, but they don't want to believe that God exists. What's wrong with that picture? You will believe in a demonic spirit and humble yourself, but you're humbling yourself for riches, for fame, for glory, for prestige, for being all that. But when you die, all you are at that point is a memory. I think about a lot of singers and actors, performers of all types that have gone on. When they leave this earth, or when they left this earth, all they left with us is their memory of what they did. What they left, what they had, they couldn't take with them. That would be an insult to God. God, I got this $1 billion. I need for you to put it in the bank and, kind of hide it out. No, God would be offended because his wealth is greater than anybody's wealth on this earth. His wealth supersedes our wealth on this earth. But we fail to humble ourselves before God to allow him to use us the way that he wants us to be used. We will kneel down to a demonic spirit for fame, for fortune. I remember the movie with George Burns. Oh God, and then oh God, you devil. And when I think about those movies, there was more truth to them. Now, of course, there's some theatrics in it. There were a lot of theatrics to it. But for the most part, when George Burns played that role, it was more truth to it than anything. The things that he stated resonated with me when he brought out certain things, especially when he was in, I believe it was, his first name was John. He was a country singer in the very first one. That people, even when you see him, you don't believe. So whether you see me or not, it's up to you to believe that I am. And they asked, well, who are you? I am. I am the great I am. But people have problems receiving me because they don't believe. And so when we think about it, the devil is going to show himself. We can go and any of us, it's anybody. It's not a certain select or a certain few that can do it. Anybody can go before the devil. That's what he wants. He wants as many people to serve him as he possibly can get. But he knows the final outcome is death. He already knows that. He knows the final outcome is the lake of fire. Is it too late for those that sold their souls to the devil? No, it's not. It's never too late. As long as there's life in them, as long as they can breathe, it's never too late. But humility is one of the biggest grievances that many people have. Because what they're saying is you are right and I'm wrong. You are greater than I am. You are holier than I am. You are magnificent, wonderful. People love to hear these things being told to them. My daughter, my son, and I went to a lunch with, he's now a chief of the fire department. But we met him when he was a firefighter. He was a captain at the time. But now he's, I believe they call him deputy chief for the fire department. And we had lunch with him. He was a part of a team that saved my daughter's life. And when I told his wife, I said, I appreciate him. I thank him. I thank all of them. I appreciate what they did for him. He loved hearing the compliments. It made him feel good as a firefighter, as that EMT at that time, that he was on that call and part of the rescue for my daughter's life. We called the 911 operator. We visited the fire department. We called the doctors in St. Louis who saved her life. We were making calls to people that took part in saving my daughter's life. And as a result, they appreciated that. We humbled ourselves to say thank you. And that's a hard thing to do because many of us want to take credit for something. We didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. We had, number one, to trust in God. We had to trust and have faith in God. Number two, we had to trust in the fire department. We had to trust in the doctors. We had to trust in everybody else. We no longer have control. And that is what that humility is all about. We don't have control of it. We have to let go. Jesus said that he is meek and lowly in heart. He has great humility. And if we look at what meek is defined as, quiet, gentle, and easily imposed on, submissive. And that is the key thing. We have to be submissive. We're not wanting to be submissive because then we feel like we give up control. But do we realize something? I don't know if many people ever thought about this. When we submit ourselves to the devil, we still giving up control. We gave up control of our minds, of our hearts, of our souls, and our spirits to gain fame, to gain fortune and prestige. Believe it or not, whether we know it, when we sell our souls to the devil, we're actually giving up control, even to him. We are becoming submissive, and we actually are humbling ourselves to him because he is the only one that is showing us that he can make that kind of life for us. That this is nothing but God, because I never thought of this before. When we submit ourselves unto God and resist the devil, he'll flee. When those that submit themselves unto the devil, they are submitting unto him. He is giving them the life that they think and believe that they want. And they have. But what you've lost, even in that deal, is control. You lost control. Because he has power over you to do things that at one point in your life you never thought that you would do. Think about it. And God just want me to put a pin right there. I'm not going to go into details because those that know this, they know what is being talked about. That the things that they never thought that they would do at one point in their life, they're doing right now. When they gave up their soul for the things that they have right now. Being humble is being able to accept that God is God, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, that he is greater than the whole world. And we are his soldiers, his warriors, his fighters. That we are the members of the body of God. That whatever direction that he is taking us, that is where we're going to follow. Those that enlist in the military, they gave up control, that the government will use them to their needs. They gave up their freedom to do whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it, how they want to do it. They gave up their civilian life for a life of discipline and obedience. And there's nothing wrong with that. I commend them for that. But I always say, the way that they go in, they'll never return the same way. When we submit ourselves unto God and humble ourselves before him, the way we went in is not the way that we're going to come out. The word or the layer of the month for this month is humility. This is Kim with Standing on Solid Ground. You have yourself a wonderful and blessed day.